Previously on Aaron Live.
Pardon for just a second. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay, blow on it.
10 seconds.
Roll.
Still delicious.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, that one. I was
one?
thinking this too.
Oops.
No.
It just
I wasn't thinking.
All of our team. Nothing. Thank you.
It's almost Rankin Bass.
yeah. What was that Mad Monster party?
Yeah.
Oh. And who knows?
Here we are.
Who
What could
knows?
possibly happen tonight?
Oh.
Hey, welcome everybody. It's Aaron Live. I'm Aaron. This is Shelley Showtime.
Hi.
It's October
Don't know why.
24th, 1921. Let me try that again.
I'm feeling
2021.
it.
If only
1921. What is
1921.
wrong with you?
I'd have some like valuable collectibles right now if it was
Serious?
1921, baby.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
what's going on?
Well, I'll tell. Oh, you're not asking me. You'd probably ask me
Yeah.
in chat what's
Yeah.
going on,
well,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see who's here, because that's what we normally do, right? We're just all out of sorts today.
We
were
seriously.
just going, man. Bring the energy. You got to do something good. Okay. It
Yeah.
was actually your idea to do the previously on Aaron Live little segment
Well,
there
you
that
know,
we put together.
I'm just full of
So
ideas.
people could say, "Hey, I missed that last week. I'll go back and
Oh
watch
my
it."
gosh, it was so funny.
All right.
Oh, it hurt. I laughed so hard.
It laughed so hard. I laughed so hard it hurt. That's good.
It did.
Past Master Dan was the first one in the house like an hour ago. And you know what
That's
you
for
get for
sure.
that? Nothing. So let's move on.
Nothing.
Leg Kick is here because Leg Kick is
It's
almost always here.
Had to edit that.
Darth Josh from Oregon is here.
Darsh.
He's saying hail to Aaron and Shelley. So we got both of us.
Thanks.
Nicholas Gear. Nicholas Gear, not to be confused with Richard Gear, is here. That rhymes. Let's see. Statistical
Wow.
Zero was here but left early.
Yeah. Got
So you have
stuff
to watch
do.
us in reruns, I
Yeah.
guess. Geek Avenger, yes. I made it to a Halo live stream. Finally.
Yay.
Well, we're glad you're
Awesome.
here live.
Well, otherwise that would be sad.
Yeah. Well, if you
Just
wasn't
saying.
live, you wouldn't be here. Probably.
That's what I'm
Period.
saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So, okay. Let's see
I
who
think
else
we
is
have a
here.
joke. coming up.
Do we? Daniel Russell's here.
Hey.
And let's
Wow.
see.
Okay.
But
Right there.
am I going to this one right here?
Yeah.
Why do Scotsmen wear kilts? Why do Scotsmen wear kilts? Do you know the answer?
For air circulation? I don't know.
Let's see. Because if you call it a dress, you'll get kilt.
That's pretty good.
Is it?
Well,
Boo!
I think it's cute.
Well, you're
I think
you're
it's
too
cute.
easy.
I
Too easy.
know. Randy's
Okay.
here.
Um,
Bill's here.
Anatomy of the Mix says that's weird. The notification took me an older live stream. Well, we're always pushing the old stuff as well as the new stuff. So I have
We are?
actually no
Oh, okay.
idea why
Okay.
that happened.
I don't even.
Bill Meacham's here. Bill, thanks for joining us.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see. Randy Howell's here from Canada. I have no
Mhm.
idea what this means, but it's good to see. It's good that you're
We
seeing us,
are.
and we're glad that you're here.
Woo!
That's
I think
what
we
I'm
need
trying to say.
snacks.
Well, just a second.
Well, that might help.
We will.
All right.
Paul's here. Paul, your book is done. It's been sitting here for a week. It's packaged up. It's going out tomorrow. I swear. It's got the little mailing label and everything on it. So thanks for your patience.
Mhm.
Um,
Ooh, Aaron Louvière is easy.
Just as let's make it easy. Cannonball me now. It's not that easy, Jeff.
Just get ready.
Aaron Louvière is here.
Yeah.
Jiminy Cricket is here.
Easy.
Destructo is here.
Oh.
Victor Thomas
Oh, is
is
that
back
new?
amongst. No,
Oh.
he hasn't. I don't know if you've seen Victor in a while.
Oh.
Lady Celtic Moon is returned. Thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Yay.
Judge Dredd is here. The Law is here as he announces it.
Bring it.
Randy Howell, big congrats to Artemis Taber for hitting 1,000 backers. By him, I
Oh,
mean he
nice.
wowed them with his book. Yeah,
Book.
that
Yeah.
must be internet shorthand. Well,
Well,
that's a nice way to start the show.
oh no.
First cannonball out.
Yeah.
Goes to Daniel Russell. Thank you so
But
much.
what's going on? What's happening here?
Okay. Well, there's a couple things. There's a couple.
What?
There's a couple.
Well,
Yeah, she's not easy. But here's the thing. Number one, you've offended Shelley. And number two, you misspelled her name.
That doesn't bother me as much.
That bothers me.
I'm sure.
Let's see.
Ooh, is Art closing out tomorrow?
Yeah, he is
Oh.
on Ethan's Monday Night Comics Gate Kings show. So it should be wild and crazy.
Oh, should be.
Let's see. Kothraven Lewis Bright Raven is here.
Nice.
They always got to do it the hard way. Yep. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
Shelley, you were you were jumping the gun a little bit, but now that we've got
enough energy to do that.
Well, now that we've got the formalities out of the way, we'll do this.
Okay.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
I did not say anything bad.
You set it off the air, and it still counts. All right, so Shelley,
didn't say anything bad. Man, you're reaching.
Okay. What do we got today for our snacks?
We've got some chocolate covered.
You got to share it with the crowd. You
Okay.
don't just
Oh, we got some strawberries.
chocolate covered
Oh,
strawberries.
did you have another one?
Yeah, right here.
Oh, and
Chocolate covered cherries.
that's a new pack. It's not the same one we had.
No, this is new. And
Oh yeah,
to be a little more health conscious, sun dried apricots.
and there was something else.
Oh yeah,
We got
it's
some protein or
it's
something.
over there, way back there.
Some probably not very good for you protein though. Oh yeah, beef jerky time. I don't think I'll have any.
We have so much stuff. It's like we are advanced snacking today.
Yep. Hey, leg kick. What's on the menu? Awesome.
Okay, Avenger's grabbing a Coke and a smile. I
Oh.
hope. No, there's the old,
They going to the
old commercial.
snack bar, get himself grab a Coke or some crack.
We don't support drug use here of any way, shape, form. Or,
No.
okay, so
Oh, Jeffrey.
let me see.
Let me see
Jeff,
what that's gonna get you.
why don't you snack on this?
That'll help clear up that dog diarrhea too. Yes.
No, next Sunday we'll probably have plenty of Halloween candy, but not.
We're not even gonna turn on
not
the light.
tonight. I know.
We're just gonna eat our own candy.
Yes, which is what we do every year. If I buy a bag of candy too early, I usually buy multiple bags because we have a lot of kids. But
not anymore.
it gets eaten, and we have to
Oh,
go buy
Decker.
more like Sunday night or
Yeah.
Halloween night or afternoon.
Same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have enough. So
Mm.
all right.
Yep. What else? What else you got?
Any plans to interview Tom DeFalco, Ron Fens, and Saul Pasona for their Indiegogo, their Right Project crowdfunding campaign? No, but that doesn't mean I won't. I haven't talked to Tom in a million years.
Who?
Tom DeFalco.
Oh,
He
uh-huh.
used to be editor-in-chief at Marvel. You know Tom. We went out to dinner a few times with the group, and back in the day when Tom was in charge at Marvel.
Are you name dropping?
I'm just saying, you were there
saying.
too. Wasn't just like I was there. I included you. You were there too.
Oh, it was a good time.
Well,
What's up?
let's get rolling, shall we?
Okay.
Let's take a look at our rights and image for the day, shall we?
Okay, I'm ready.
was going to ask you that.
Well, I'm asking first.
Well, what do you think I think of it? I'm writes and honk. I think he's. I love it. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about it, though?
Not my favorite one.
Not your favorite one?
No, it's weird.
Didn't like the color. Well, it's a sci. It was some production art for a sci-fi
Oh, that's
film.
right. That's right.
So that's
It was masterful. It was wonderful. It was amazing. It was the best thing I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
Oh, not the neck. Remember, I just had more
you don't-
injections
you
on
can't-
Friday.
no,
Woo!
Don't disrespect the rights. You just don't.
Yep.
No, that was one of the many production. A producer will come to you as an artist and say,
I've never
"Hey,
had that happen.
well,
Oh, my bad. Okay, not about me. It's not about me.
it's not. It's not always
It's
about
always
you.
about me.
You like to think it is, but no.
Mhm.
Now we're talking about me.
Okay.
But so an artist
I'll just
like
leave it up
myself,
there. Uh-huh.
no, you can
Yeah,
actually
uh-huh.
participate.
No, it's all about you. Go ahead.
Excuse me for a second.
My God. Do I? Oh, Lord.
Okay. All right.
I'm in big trouble then.
So a producer might come to an artist like myself
Uh-huh.
and say, "Hey, we're trying to put this film together. I'm trying to get some financing for it. So can you do some
Oh.
illustrations for me so I can use it as
Oh,
presentation?"
I see.
And that's
Oh.
more than likely what that Wrightson piece was. It was several
All right.
pieces that were featured in his retrospective career book called
Gotcha.
"A Look Back" that featured that.
Gotcha. Well done.
So okay. Mm.
Uh,
We're not going to share any Frazetta today because I think at this
Oh.
point, going 8th or 9th. Well, here's my 11th favorite Frazetta.
Right.
Here's my 33rd favorite Frazetta.
Right.
At this point, it's just they're all great. So
Oh my gosh.
I decided to skip the whole thing.
Hey, yeah, I'm gonna become free.
I don't think that's
Yeah,
enough.
but let's
Wait a
talk about
minute.
you hit me in my head, in my neck.
Okay,
Just
I got
not
it,
the
got it
neck.
out of my system now.
Okay. See, I'm gonna keep you shorter if you keep hitting me on top of the head.
I know we're shrinking down to size.
Ooh, I see.
Well, that's not very full. It's, of course, referring to Tom DeFalco, calling him DeFlaco. That's not very nice. But,
I don't know.
Anatomy of the Mixes, my copy of Black and White Frankenstein just shipped today. It's awesome. I've got
Nice.
about 3 different copies of that book, maybe 4. You think that's
It's a little excessive, don't you think?
I do have a rights and problem.
I have a rights and problem. I'm wrong. I'm wrong with my rights and problem.
Did you have hair the last time you talked to Tom DeFalco, Aaron?
Oh.
Yeah, I think I said
think
this
you
to him.
I don't know that he'd recognize us at all.
Okay, well that's pretty good.
Ooh, that's big, Daniel. Get one of those.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Oh, see, Leg Kick tried to get in there. I mean, like a film producer or produce an artist like Adam Hughes.
Oh,
I'm not going to give you one for that because
No.
but because actually, art is art.
yes.
Adam Hughes. I was going to say Art Adams, but I couldn't get Adam Hughes out.
better.
Adam Hughes is
Mhm.
better than I am. So anytime you mention, I almost said Art Adams again, Adam Hughes as being better than me or more prominent than me, that's certainly, I can't cannonball you because it's true.
Oh. Hey,
So
I got a question for you.
yes,
What page you on? On Wraith.
I'm on page 9.
Nice.
It's the first shot of Esther, the first reveal, the first appearance of Esther in the book.
Ooh.
I will share it.
Nice.
I will share it when I get it done, though.
Ooh. Mike,
Um,
does that say TV?
Mike TV Dub.
Mike
Thanks for
TV?
joining us, Mike.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's. I am.
He is super humble.
Humility is my middle name, or humiliation. It's one of the. I think it's humiliation. Actually, is
That's pretty
probably-
good.
Yeah, well,
It's a good one.
I work here. That was
I
for
gotta
me.
apologize. I'm just not really in my finest hour.
I
That
get you fired
happens.
up. I get you fired up.
No, not really.
How about this?
Some fireball
Bring it
might
down.
fire me up.
We'll bring it down a little bit with this stuff.
Logical.
Mhm. That's me.
You know, you're logical.
Yeah, yeah. I just some steroids shot in my neck, and oh yeah, so that's good. Good fun.
You know what I think
What?
might help?
What?
This might help turn the tide for you
Okay.
today to kind of get your spirits up.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.
Now,
Mhm.
see, it's like in the Galaxy Quest when he says to
Armani disco sandwich.
no, when
Oh.
he says the show must go on.
Oh,
He doesn't want to go on
That's
stage.
right, Alan
and-
Rickman.
Alan Rickman.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So the show must go on,
gotcha.
Shelley. So
Give
you
me
got
a
to bring it.
run. Give me a run.
Oh, you
That'll
need one of
help.
these?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
That's
that
what I
actually
needed.
reminds
That's what I
me.
needed. That's
That
all I
actually
needed.
reminds me because it's probably time for a public service announcement.
Probably.
I don't know that we've given anybody a good reason to like or subscribe, but please do it anyway because it'll help us provide you with better content. I don't know if it's true or
Is that
not, but
possible?
that's what everybody says.
Oh,
If you like and subscribe, it helps me to give
Oh.
you better content. So if you want better content,
you better hurry
which
up.
I'm sure
now.
most of you do, please like and subscribe.
You know, we haven't seen you in a while. Your biopic. Is that what it's called?
My biopic,
Mm-hmm.
The Story of Aaron,
The story of Aaron. I think
I
we
don't
all
think
need
it's
a
on here
story of
anymore.
Aaron. There it is.
it's not in here
It
anymore.
is.
Where?
Right there.
Oh,
There we go.
you think we should show this?
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Funny. I like it.
Okay.
Okay. But-
For those of you who haven't seen in the past, and this is posted as its own video on
Mhm.
the channel, but a lot of people haven't watched it. Tears. But here's a short biography of my life. It all started for me in 1964. I was born with a full head of hair. I remember it like it was 57 years ago. Shortly after that, I met Shelley Showtime and we got married and had a couple of kids. Marriage really grounded me. I studied hard and worked even harder to become a comic book artist. Then tragically, I remember losing my hair and I started live streaming. It's funny how things turn out. That's kind of pretty much
Memories.
that's pretty much my life story right there in a nutshell. So I hope that was able to
I love how you just went from born with a head of hair, met me,
married,
got married.
yeah, and then live stream. Lost
Yeah.
my hair in live stream. So that, you know,
Oh my
my
gosh.
life moved very, very fast.
Mm-hmm. You're a fast mover.
Mhm.
That was your Ethel Merman.
Oh, ah,
Boo!
I had to draw him a picture.
Yeah,
Such a
well-
little while.
uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
There you go. The opening line, there's no business matches the comic book industry.
Who was that one? Oh, it's great.
Oh, it's
for
pretty good.
sure.
Where's Brohawk? We need more cool besides Shelley.
Oh,
Um,
thanks,
Here,
but I'm not so cool.
let me offer this up to you. Like,
Oh, it's funny. Oh, I guess people liked your movie. Jeffrey.
Jeff, stop. Sorry I'm late. Hey, Aaron and Shelley Showtime. Have a great stream. I hope so. You guys will be the ones to decide that, right? With your likes and dislikes.
Ooh. Oh, that's so sweet. No, I'm the lucky one.
She really is. If you guys knew the true story. That's what I'm going to do. The next film is going to be the true story.
It'd be like me recovering, more surgery, more surgery, more surgery,
White Claw.
more surgery, fireball, white surgery. Yep.
Probably didn't help.
Oh,
If only she had control of the clicker right now.
Uh-huh. Huh? Well, so,
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Shane and Yancy had their baby.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Adorable.
Did they name it pterodactyl?
I doubt it.
I doubt it too. I don't think they
I don't
probably
think
did.
so. But beautiful. So pretty.
But it's funny you should mention that
Yeah.
because having a child
Mhm.
is a precious moment.
Oh, good segue.
I know. So let's
Impressive.
let's take a look now at some precious
Please be
moments from
precious.
yesterday.
Please be precious.
Oh, it's
I love
precious.
this. It's my favorite part.
She
Okay,
says
come
that
on, every time. Okay,
it
I've had
never
one
is.
that was good last show.
Never is. Okay, here we go.
That was
I-
special.
I
That
still
was so precious.
that is probably still the best adaptation of that story that ever hit the screen. Was that Walt Disney
Probably.
one?
And what was that one we saw with had Johnny Depp in it? Maybe.
Okay, she comes up to me, right? She's like,
Oh, okay,
"Hey,"
you ready for this? All right, well, that was attractive. Not the neck.
okay.
That was attractive. That was the
Uh,
best face ever.
No, she comes
sorry.
up to me and she says, "This is
She says.
20-some years ago."
So I won't remember. He could make it up. I won't remember.
And she goes, "Let's go see Sleepy. Let's go
Sleepy.
Let's go see
Let's
Sleepy
go
Hollow."
Schlip and Hollow.
She goes, "Let's go see Sleepy Hollow, the one with Johnny Depp." And I'm like, "Are you sure you want to see that? I mean, that is, you know."
I'm such a wimp. I don't.
And she goes, "No, I really want to go see it. It looks like a
Uh-huh.
really fun costume drama." And I was like,
I don't think I said costume drama.
You did
I
after
don't
the fact
say
because
those
I asked
words.
you why you'd want to go see that movie, and you were like, "Well, I thought it was like going to be this costume drama. I like
Oh, I don't know.
that period piece." and
Oh
all
yeah,
that
I
kind of
like
stuff.
like those. Yeah.
So of course it was just bloody, gory, and you know,
Why did you take me to this?
I was an innocent party. She's
Yeah.
like, I couldn't believe
Yeah.
it. She's like, "Let's go see Stripes." I'm like, "What? Oh, you know that mud wrestling thing? That's hilarious." I'm like, "What?" So she has very strange taste in movies,
know.
but you know, there you go. But I
Let's
still
see.
think the Walt Disney version is the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
There actually, you know, there was a one with Jeff Goldblum in it,
Oh
like ages ago,
wow.
like before he was Jeff Goldblum. I mean, he was Jeff
So who
Goldblum.
was he before?
Well, he was Jeff Goldblum, but not famous Jeff Goldblum.
Was he in The Fly?
Yes.
Look at me go.
You know, speaking of Halloween, which we were, well, I guess we could have. Or
Oh, sorry.
okay, just
I was reading.
I'm gonna
I'm
go
sorry.
take a nap. You tell me when
Okay,
you're
I
done, and
gotcha.
I'll come back.
I got some reading to do. Yeah. What'd you say?
I don't remember. Oh, so the thing, right?
The thing.
Now, the only movie where the lead actor
Okay.
won Academy Award for Best Actor, there was a horror film. If you don't count
Oh.
Silence of the Lambs, I don't know. If you count,
Oh,
that was like more of a thriller. It wasn't
that
really.
was
Do you
intense.
consider that a horror film?
No.
I don't know. Okay.
Suspense.
Was Frederick March for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in 1931. Now, in 1986, when The Fly came out with Jeff Goldblum, there was all sorts of talk that he was going to get nominated for Best Picture and all sort of our Best Actor.
Best actor. Yeah, gotcha.
And there was all sort of speculation that he would have a chance to be the second actor to get nominated and potentially win a Best Actor
Wow.
for a horror film, which of course he did not get nominated, nor did he win because he didn't get nominated.
So, well, that helps. You have to.
But I was in LA
Yeah.
at the time, and that was quite the buzz. So there
Wow.
you go.
Wow. Let's see. We got some serious comments to look through here.
Do we? Oh, Brohawk has shown up.
Hi, David. Oh,
First Watch
We lo-
Studios dropped
we
in.
just love David.
Sam Sanker. How's it going, Aaron? It's going
Sam.
good, Sam. Thank you. Ooh, Statistical Zero has returned.
Hi, bud. Oh my gosh. Okay, we got to go back.
Okay, well, okay.
Wow. Okay, so Jeffrey,
Yes.
Daniel, the
Still down to the essence. Incredible.
incredible.
Didn't have
Don't
time to get popcorn. That's still about my
Explains
movie.
the kids. Oh, we have
Uh,
just the best kids.
Did you lose your?
though.
We do have great kids. Did you lose your hair because you got married? We've already seen that.
Don't
Oh.
touch it. Don't touch the mouse. Have some snacks.
I'm going to. I'm just going to eat
All right.
snacks
Did you
with
lose your hair? You want cool? Should Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze? Oh, that was very good, wasn't it?
That was horrible.
Yeah. Oh, the
Neon
Bachman.
Todd Studios here. Hello,
Ooh,
everyone. Thanks, Neon, for
That's new
joining
for
us.
me, is it?
No, you just can't remember.
You guys, seriously, I have
Too many of these.
too many of these. I don't have a really good memory. Don't touch.
Then move along, please.
Time for a station break. Okay, I can't. Oh, there it goes. Couch looking cozy. Ooh, First Watch Studios. I like that name.
No, it's kind of cool.
Sam. My dad always wanted a Sam.
You got one.
Yeah, so that's why we named our
Well,
daughter Samantha.
I always like that name too.
Yeah, but my dad always wanted a Sam. I was daddy's girl. I'll admit it. David says he's lurking. No lurking. You don't need to lurk, David. Good thing that baby looks like its mother. Oh, no, seriously though, it's like the most perfect baby face ever.
Who, me?
No,
Well, that's he was referring to
Pterodactyl.
my baby picture. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
just but I loved it because Shane's just like this best day ever, and you know, you
Well, it
get
should be.
those warm fuzzies that you just you can't explain, and then you get those and you're like, oh, okay, I guess it was worth ruining my figure for, I guess, when they're nice.
Yeah. No, they're great kids.
Yeah.
Comics Legends say, Mike Barron is in the green room. Mike, I see you. We'll get
Hi,
to you in
Mike.
just a minute. Chris Wallace, the special effects creature artist, did win an Academy Award for The Fly.
Nice.
So look at that. See? Sorry, I had to step away. Did David Williams show up? All of a sudden, the live stream just feels much cooler.
Oh yeah, you brought some coolness.
How does this feel?
So you did warn Mike, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he's seen it.
Oh, we're not very good.
Before I bring Mike in,
Biggest dorks
Before
ever.
I bring Mike in, we got to
Mhm.
run one more thing. Now, this is Shelley's new
Oh, no.
feature that she likes to do every week. So she puts a lot of planning into this to kind of come up with something that is personal to her
Oh,
that she can
no.
share with you
This
guys.
scares me.
So let's take a look at this, shall we?
Okay.
Watch your monitors, please.
Okay. That is so true. I was like, he's dead to me now. Oh, honey, that was good.
Oh, see, well, you put it together, and thanks for
Yeah, I
sharing
worked
with
really
us.
hard on that one. Actually, I did have a contribution finally.
You
I
did?
did the clips for the last time.
That's right, but I still had to edit them and put it together. So,
That's true. I can only do so much.
are we going to get a spooky stream on Halloween next Sunday? Yes, we
Oh
are.
yeah.
Uh,
Not quite sure.
Exactly what
I'm
it's
thinking I
gonna
might
be.
go as White Trash Shelley because it wouldn't be a stretch. I just throw something together.
The first page of Shelley's Book of Grudges was filled.
Oh gosh, I'd need a lot of them.
Well-
no, just actually.
Shelley
Yeah,
was
a couple.
Shelley before we got married. Shelley was kind of a spandex chick and big hair spandex, strutting her
Admit it.
stuff, and so Sergio kind of digs
Well,
that, and so he was
Yeah, well, that was when I was like
he was very
teaching
enamored with
aerobics all the
Shelley.
time, and just got done bodybuilding, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah,
Made
let's
promises to her that he apparently didn't intend
Do this. Oh yeah,
to keep.
do
and-
not, don't let me down.
So,
Remember that.
That's right. All right. Well, that's our ridiculous nonsense
That's the
snacking
nonsense of the
portion
day.
of the show. It's now we're going to get serious and bring in. Could we call him a legend in the industry?
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah, certainly.
Attached his name all
certainly,
the time.
certainly renowned comic book
Ooh,
writer.
renowned.
I like that. Renowned.
That's even better.
You might know.
Well
his,
respected.
you might know his work from the Badger. You might know it from Nexus.
Mhm.
You might know it from the Flash. You might know it from the Punisher.
I am the Punisher.
Let's
I'm a teacher.
bring in our guest. I'm very excited to have him here. I
Yay.
haven't talked to him in a long while. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Mike Barron.
Woo!
Hey, Mike.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
You're looking very like trendy with your cap on, and
It's cold here.
I wish.
freezing.
Although it is kind of cold here, but I'm never cold.
Well,
We
you're in
went-
California, right?
No,
No,
Oregon.
Oregon.
It's
Oh,
rainy and cold here.
But we went all summer with our heat waves up here with no air conditioner all summer.
I heard about that.
Yeah, so I was like, maybe I won't ever complain about being cold again.
Yeah, we were sweating
But
in
I
the
will.
summer and we're freezing in the winter. So it's
I heard it was 110 degrees.
it was up here.
Yeah. Oh, and even if it was, because we had 113, 114. And then up in the studio, it was like, I don't know, a million.
Yeah,
This is the warmest room in the house.
we were
always.
coming up here doing live streams and cooking at the same time. We just set the.
I was
the food
bringing
up.
ice packs up for his back. It
Real
was
bad.
nuts.
So anyway, Mike, you've got yourself a new project, which called the Thin Blue Line. Is that correct?
Yes.
We're going to get to that in just a second, but I want to go back memory lane with you a little bit. Now, tell me, did you? I got to share something here, so give me a second. I have to push 6 buttons. The horrible 6 buttons. That was the very first thing you did in comics. Was it Nexus, or am I mistaken in that?
No, that was it. That was how I broke into comics.
Nice.
So this obviously
Way
is
to
a
have your
dark
first
horse one.
with Steve Rude.
I know.
Not a big deal.
Tell
Let's
us a
do that.
little bit. I'm sure you've probably recounted this story a million times, but not for my audience. You haven't. How did you and Rude hook up, and how did Nexus come to be? And it was with Capital. Was it Capital?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Give us the
I was
story.
working at an insurance company. And one day I got a call from a newspaper editor because I was still writing for newspapers. He said, there's some guy down here. He's trying to sell us his art, and he draws just like you. Now, this guy didn't know anything about art, and I was trying to draw. So he gave me Steve's phone number, and we arranged to meet on the steps of the student union. And Steve opened his portfolio, and I gave up drawing at that moment. And he wanted to do comics, but he couldn't write. I wanted to do comics. I couldn't draw. And we had heard that Capital City Distribution, the largest distributor of comics in the world, wanted to start their own comic line. So I went home and I brainstormed the first 12 pages of Nexus. And it came about this way. I wanted a dramatic superhero. And I thought, well, what if every time he showed up, somebody died? That would be dramatic. And that's not a fresh insight. That's why we've been inundated with police, legal, and medical shows for the past half century. Then I had to come up with a justification so that he was a sympathetic character. And I made him a reluctant executioner of mass murderers who was being forced to commit these executions by an insane alien who had chosen Nexus as the conscience of his race. It was really messed up. But anyhow, I drew the first 12 pages out by hand because that's how I wrote comics for 15 years, by drawing each page out by hand. And I gave it to the dude. He went home and he drew it, he inked it, and he lettered it. And we showed it to the boys, and they said, yeah. And we were off and running.
Nice.
So even with Nexus, there's sort of this crime, law enforcement element that I see in a lot of your writing over the years. So is this something that you obviously had a great interest in before you even got into comics?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I've always been a reader and a fan of crime fiction. And like a lot of writers, I was inspired to write by John D. MacDonald, and in particular his Travis McGee series.
Oh, okay.
But because of the Badger, Carl Potts phoned me and asked if I would write the Punisher series. And I loved doing that because it was right up my alley. And I approached it as a straight crime story. And for the first 3 years, there were no robots or aliens. I don't know if you noticed, but I tried to make it as real as possible.
Yeah.
And then they switched editors on us, and the new editor was a gimmick guy, and that's when we started getting the robots and the aliens. But prior to that, I was very happy with the run, and I think it's held up well. But also, I've always been interested in crime fiction. In fact, I write novels in that field. Yeah, I have a series called Biker.
I'll have to look it up. That's what I read mostly as well.
Yeah, Shelley likes crime fiction quite a bit. So now
Yeah, it took me a long time to learn how to write novels because I'm a slow learner. But when I get it, I get it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love reading, but writing, I have a degree in math. So writing and I just don't, we don't mesh very well. We don't equal. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because that's one thing I would be afraid to tackle would be a novel. I would just because I can do entertainment writing, which I look at as being scripts, but to put together a novel, that's a major undertaking. So that's pretty impressive. So you basically had no experience doing that, but kind of.
Well, like you do it by doing it, and I always say that every would-be writer has a million words of shit clogging up his system, and you have to get that out before you get to the good stuff. And I've been trying to write novels for 30 years, and then I stopped writing altogether for 10 years. I had a real rough patch, but I came back to it, and I was writing Banshees, which is my big horror novel about a satanic rock band that comes back from the dead. And I was about a third of the way in when I looked up and I said, I get it. I understand the novel. I understand what constitutes story and how to structure a novel. And from then on, I've been writing novels ever since, although I've been lax this summer and I have to get back to it because I've been working on all these comic projects.
Well, since you brought up The Punisher, I was going to go in order, but since you brought him up, I'm going to jump into that real quick. You had mentioned that you tried to keep it very realistic. Now, I remember when this came out, and this was right after that, the Mike Zeck, Stephen Grant.
That's right.
He's right. And the Punisher got really hot, and they're like, it was Punisher everything, right? He was like the new Wolverine, sort of. And but I remember picking this up, and that was Klaus Janson did the art. Am I correct on the inside of that?
Klaus did the first 4 or 5 issues. We had a whole bunch of great artists working on it.
But it was all very sort of like very, like you said, realistic, crime-oriented stuff like that. It wasn't, and I enjoyed that series very much.
Well, thank you, Aaron. We worked together on Star Wars.
Who did?
You and me.
On Star Wars?
Didn't you help with some of the adaptations, the Timothy Zahn novels, Heir to the Empire?
I think you're high, Mike. I don't remember ever doing any Star Wars.
I may be high. This is Colorado.
Oh, I love Colorado.
That air's too thin, man.
Well, hold on, I got to take time out. Where are you in Colorado?
Fort Collins.
All right.
Awesome.
Well,
sorry.
It's funny you saying us working together. You're just reminding me of something. I don't know. You may not remember this or not, but do you remember the when they had ProCon right before WonderCon when it was still in Oakland for like 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
And we were at ProCon, and we had somehow hooked up after, I don't know if it might have been after Jim Shooter had like a panel, and I remember him like slamming his fist on the desk. He was really upset, talking about how he got mistreated at Valiant and Marvel or whatever. But we had talked afterwards and about doing a Conan story together. And we walked out of you had just like conceptualized it right on the spot. I don't remember. It was, I think it was like a seafaring sort of Conan thing. And there was a payphone, if you remember those things.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was right outside the hall that we'd just listened to this presentation by Shooter, whoever it was. And we were talking about this thing, and you go, well, let's call Idelson right now. And I'm pretty sure it was Matt Idelson. We called him on the phone, and you pitched him this Conan idea, and nothing ever came of it. But I always remember that. It was just being that really kind of funny moment, because you were just like, this is going to be great. And you ran to the phone, and we called him up, and we're sitting right there, and you're like trying to talk him into this Conan story right on the phone there on the spot. But I don't know.
Crazy days.
Yeah, I don't know that we actually ever have worked on anything together, at least not directly, unless I came in and, like you said, I don't ever remember working on any Star Wars stuff, but I may have bailed out somebody else on a few pages here and there.
I'm probably losing my memory, but I'd love to work with you on something. I'm looking at your campaign right now, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. And I mean, you had brought up the thing just not too long ago about like, maybe doing a Nexus thing or something together at some point, which I would love to do as soon as we get to.
We can do that. I'm free to bring any Nexus project I like to Dark Horse. And I'm working on a new series right now with Sergio Cariello.
Oh, are you?
Mm-hmm.
Through Dark Horse?
Yes.
Excellent.
But awesome. Before that, I have 2 more graphic novels in the works. The first is by Richard Bonk, and the second is by a new guy named Elphick.
Man, you are.
I haven't spoken to him yet. Mike just showed me his art and said, I'm going to give this to Elphick if it's all right with you. And I said, it's all right with me.
You're one busy dude, Mike. One busy guy. Hey, let's go back in time for a second and take a look at this now. So you guys were doing Nexus in '81, right? Started.
Yes.
And Badger came along in '83. Is that correct?
82 or 83.
So you guys, I assume that Nexus was at least successful enough that Capital was like, hey, Mike, do something else.
Yes. And so I found Jeff Butler and I said, Jeff, what do you want to draw? He said, well, I want to draw druids. So I wrote this 10-page story about a cantankerous druid in 5th century Wales who was so unloved that the other druids took up a collection and hired some Vikings to put him in a coma and sail west and drop him off the edge of the earth. And we took that in and showed it to the boys. And Milton Griep, he was our publisher, he's still a friend of mine. And he looked at it and he said, nah, we don't want no druids. Give us a costume crime fighter. My first thought was, why would anybody put on a costume and fight crime? They'd have to be crazy.
And of course, the Badger.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. So now this has, when you guys were working at Capital, how long did that go before? Because both Badgers and Nexus has ended up at various different publishers throughout the years.
We went to First after that. They did it for about 2 years, and I guess they figured they didn't know what they were doing, so they decided to sell those properties. And, being young and foolish, we had signed away all rights. And it's only due to Mike Richardson's generosity that we own Nexus today. Badger is still owned by First Comics. I can work on it occasionally, but I have to get approval and I have to run a gamut of hurdles and so forth. But I am working on some new Badger material and we hope to have it out. And I did write a Badger novel.
Well, now, wait a minute. So First is still some sort of entity that...
Yes. They're a boutique publisher. It's headed by Ken Levin. And Ken is mostly interested in parlaying his properties into film. And that's what he's trying to do.
Well, you still have a piece of this, right? I mean, it's not completely owned by them, is it?
Oh, yeah. No, it is completely owned by them. But as I said, Ken is a very generous guy, and he's paid me well for doing Badger that didn't sell because nobody knew about it and had no distribution. We did a series a couple of years ago that the Battle of the Five Wizards that I'm really proud of. Vladimir Putin was the bad guy. And there's a great knockdown drag out fight between Badger and Vlad.
Harkens back to Captain America beating up Hitler, huh?
Yeah, it was printed. I mean, I have copies and some stores do have copies. It just did not get good distribution. But First is still publishing. In fact, they're bringing out another property of mine that Shane Oakley illustrated. It's been in the works for years. It's called Howl, and it's about a werewolf detective. But I conceived it 9 years ago. And, it just seems like now all the werewolves are coming out of the woodwork.
I know. I feel like my story has got a werewolf in it, but it's not a werewolf book. It's just that they just happen to be the villains of this story. But it's like, my gosh, there's, especially all over the indie market, there's werewolves everywhere. So I guess it's like the next, after the zombie craze, we now got the werewolf craze. But
and then it'll be vampires again.
Yep, exactly. Which is my next Wraith story is a vampire story. So it'll probably come out right in the middle of when there's a big vampire craze and everybody going, can't you think of anything original?
You're a trendsetter.
I know. I'm usually, my thinking may be ahead of the curve. By the time I get anything out, I'm behind the curve though. So it looks like I'm a cheap imitation. But okay, I want to get into this. Now, this was around 87, right? So this was prior to the Punisher, right? Or am I mistaken?
No. I don't think it was before Punisher. I'd have to look at the dates on those, but I think I started doing Punisher before I took over Flash. I could be wrong.
Yeah, the Punisher might have been 86, and this might have been, I think, 87. Were you working at Marvel and DC at the same time?
Yes.
Wow.
You could do that in those days.
Back in those days, you could get away with that, right? So how did you, Jeff Stout here, he's one of our regulars, wanted to let you know that Mr. Barron, your run on Flash made me a lifelong Wally West fan. how difficult was writing him after the sacrifice of Barry during Crisis? Did you worry the fans would not accept him?
No, I never think about that. My first goal is to tell an entertaining story. That's job number one.
Right.
So I had Wally West, and I looked a little at Wally and who he was and what he was doing. And I don't think I recreated him from the ground up, but I gave him a much firmer persona. He was a bit of a rake. He was a little cynical. He was like a lot of young men at that age. He hadn't fully matured and lacking a little bit in wisdom, but had a good heart.
Right. I remember that specifically because I remember picking that book up off the rack. Well, that wasn't a rack then because they actually displayed them nicely in comic shops. They weren't on spinner racks back then. But I remember picking up that book, and that was one of the books that I was reading, and I really enjoyed it because I did like your take on the fact that he was a younger version, you know, like you said, cynical, bit irresponsible. And I thought it was really sort of clever, that whole concept of, and I assume you brought this to the character, correct me if I'm wrong, but all this massive caloric intake that he had to have, which made perfect sense, but it seemed like no one had ever brought that up before.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought about him.
I remember it might have been in the very first issue where he had to he ordered 12 pizzas or something, you know, and he had to consume all these pizzas. It was either right before or right after, you know, he was out doing his Flash stuff. So that
he eats before.
He eats before, so he loads up and then goes.
Yeah.
Now, this was, at the time, as I recall, this was kind of a hot book. I mean, the Punisher was a hot character when you got on him, but I kind of think that you made the Flash sort of a hot character there for a while in the right out of, I guess it's right there from the pages of Legends. I remember that Legends miniseries that Byrne did, and all these new titles must have launched right off that Legends miniseries, and you got one of them. And it seems to me, as I recall, that you made this character a fairly hot character there for a while in terms of readership and popularity.
And, I gave it up after a year because I didn't know what to do with him next.
Really?
Yeah. I wish I hadn't, and that wouldn't happen today. Today, I never run out of ideas. But it was a great pleasure to work with Butch Geist. And in fact, we're working together again on a new project for Graham Nolan, which is his Manly Man Two-Fisted Tales or whatever he's calling it. And Butch has also done a cover for Thin Blue Line.
So you and Butch are working on I knew you were involved in Graham's the Manly Tales book, but I didn't know Butch was drawing it.
Yeah.
It'd be really good. Butch is, my gosh, you look at some artists tend to kind of they hit their stride early and they just kind of plateau for their careers. But Butch, my gosh, that guy has gotten so much better. Not that he wasn't good before, but man, his stuff now is just great. I mean, just great stuff. And the stuff he was doing at CrossGen was I was just blown away by. And I saw, some of the more recent stuff he's done with Mitch Breitweister and really nice looking stuff. So
yeah, I'm working for Mitch too. I'm doing a series called The Saints. I think they're shipping their graphic novel before the end of the year.
Dude,
Dr. Mask. Yes, that's right. Thank you, Dr. Mask.
How, as a writer, I always thought this was interesting. How do you juggle, 2, 3, 4 projects that you're working on at the same time and keep your mind and plots separate?
I think that it's important to do at least 2 or 3 projects at the same time, because if you run out of ideas on one, you can switch to another. The most important question in fiction is what happens next.
Right.
And the reader has to care about that before he'll turn the page. And before I embark on a project, I write an outline, and I start by writing down all the elements of the story, the characters, the scene, the situation, any weird inventions or supernatural elements. And from that, I cobble together an outline. And the outline is designed not just to tell me or the editor where I'm going, but also to entice readers. I want the outline to be highly readable and fun. And when you're done reading the outline, you say, okay, where's the book? So I work on that a lot. And I work on my characters a lot. I grab elements from everywhere. And as any writer knows, if you create a really good character, at some point he's going to turn around and tell you what he's going to do next. And that has happened to me repeatedly. But I love working on different projects. And yes, when I switch from project to project, I forget completely about the project that I've stepped away from and embrace completely the new project that I'm working on. It's like going from one world into another.
So you're basically able just to sort of disconnect from what you were just working on yesterday and say, okay, this is a different storyline, and get totally immersed in that and focused on that until you finish whatever part of that you need to get done. And then you're able to bounce like that and just keep your mind clear, huh?
That's right.
Wow. It's impressive. Cause I'm kind of like, I when I write, it's, I'm focused on that one thing and I got to get it right. And but I don't write full time like someone like you. And so I just thought that was that's very interesting that you're able to sort of almost compartmentalize the different concepts and different ideas and storylines and not, dragging a little bit of information from one into the other and keep them separate. I think that's pretty impressive, but you've been doing it long enough. You should be good at it, Mike. So
I always carry a notepad with me wherever I go, and I write down anything of interest. If I hear an interesting name, I'll write it down.
Yeah.
Because I love names, and names are important. But, people who read Nexus will notice that I name all my alien planets off of drugs that are offered on television. Like Farziga.
That's awesome.
Ozampic. They're from the planet Ozampic.
Oh my God.
Because, why should I do that work when the drug companies have already done that work for me?
That's true. So that's pretty funny. I hadn't noticed that. David Williams, King Mike, he calls you, giving you a shout out there.
Thanks, Dave.
Dr. Masters, no end of drugs on TV. So you've got plenty of source material for planets.
I know.
All right. So let's, actually, let me ask you one other thing before we get to your new project. So you're a guy that's been in and out of the mainstream, an independent writer, mainstream, independent, mainstream, but you've never, from the outside looking in, you've never seemed like a guy who was ever not working on something. Has there been a period of time where it was just like you couldn't get anything going?
Absolutely.
So
there was about 10 years from around 1997 until 2007. I was married to a woman who had a lot of health problems, and I couldn't get any work. I took any job I could. I was a janitor for a while at a respirator company.
No kidding.
And one day I came home and she said, "We have to move or I'm going to die." This was in Wisconsin, which has very severe winters.
Yeah.
So we did a big Chinese fire drill around the Southwest and decided to settle in Fort Collins for various reasons. And we moved out here in 2003. And then 3 years later, she did die. I came home one day and she was dead of an overdose of OxyContin and vodka.
Oh my gosh.
That was a long time ago. And, I don't know how these things work. And it was a very difficult period for me. And it was a while before I started writing again. But when I did, I had learned a great deal. As I mentioned, I understood the novel. And I had been trying to write novels for 30 years, and I knew they were trash. But when I started in again, I realized I knew what I was doing, and they were not trash. I'm not saying they're great literature, but I understood the form, and they were highly readable.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the bright spots in my life is I think that my writing is getting better every day.
Well, I think that, and I don't mean this to cast shade at other artists or creators, but I think someone who's truly an artist and someone who's truly seeking after their craft is constantly looking to get better. I think a lot of people settle in and say, okay, I found a system on how I can make money, and they just do that, until they retire or whatever. Then there's some of us who are, and I know I speak for myself as well, but apparently what you're just saying, I am driven to get better. And part of that is insecurity. And, there's always somebody young coming up and, that guy, I can't let that guy be better than me. And I've got to stay on top of my game. And you work and you work and you work to get better. And when you can look at your own work and say, here I am in my late 50s, you know, and your guys getting into their 60s and you're doing some of the best work of your career. That's a very gratifying feeling, I think.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm more excited about my writing now than ever. And I'm surprised by the books I've produced. I always say I don't choose my subjects. My subjects choose me. Like Florida Man. Florida Man just mugged me. And I said, all right, I'll do it. You know, I said, stop throwing these headlines at me. I'll do it. And now there are 3 Florida Man novels out. And I think they're the funniest things ever written. And people who read them think so too.
Florida Man. Hey, now I remember something you did back, I want to say, because it was back when I was in my Studio Saurus there in Portland with a bunch of guys, Terry Dodson and Haley and Carl Kiesel and the gang. But you were working on something called The Grackle. Was that with Galassi, or am I mistaken?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Now, was that through Dark Horse? Who'd you do
Valiant.
that? Valiant.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. What that was that sort of a James Bond type? Maybe
It was noir. It was a modern crime thriller, very noir, which I love. I love noir.
How many issues of that did you guys do?
I think there were just 4.
And you never revisited that character again?
Well, no. I mean, I have copies in the basement. I'll have to look at it and see who owns it. But I would be interested in revisiting it if the circumstances were right. I don't know when I'd slot it in because I'm working on so much stuff now.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a good problem to have, right? To have too many properties and too much stuff going on. Speaking of which, now we'll get into your
Thin Blue Line.
The Thin Blue Line. Okay, let me say first of all, before we start talking about that there is a link in the description of this video to your Indiegogo campaign. So if anybody wants to check that out and back that, you can go right down to the description of this video and click the link and it'll take you right over there. Of course.
Great. Thank you, Aaron.
Sure. And so being self-serving as I am, there's also a link to Wraith of God. So I encourage everybody to check that as well. But let me pull this up if you don't mind. I'm sure you don't, because that's why you're here. And we'll take a look at this campaign real quick and then talk about it a little bit. But again, I have to push my 6 buttons to share anything. So, all right, there it is.
That's Butch's cover.
Oh, that's Butch's.
A little slice of it.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have a video here that runs?
Yes.
Okay, let's run the video and take a look at this.
Beginning with issue number 1, Mike Baron wrote Marvel's The Punisher for over 5 years, approaching it as a straight crime comic, without any superheroes, aliens, or robots. Over the course of 60 issues, Baron elevated the gritty anti-hero into one of the most popular and enduring characters in the Marvel Comics universe. Now he brings that same ultra-realistic intensity to his latest graphic novel, Thin Blue Line. In the middle of a long, hot summer, a police shooting ignites a city. Activists, opportunists, and provocateurs descend to riot, loot, burn, and kill. Thin Blue Line follows Officer Valeria Baca and her partner as their detail guarding the mayor turns into a battle for survival. Ride along on this harrowing tale of 2 brave law enforcement officers fighting for their community and their own survival in a world gone mad. Eisner winner Mike Baron has created an alarming tale that unflinchingly examines human fallibility on every level, along with penciler Joe Arnold, himself a full-time police officer, and talented inker Jeff Slemons. They've created a moving and entertaining story ripped straight from today's headlines. Thin Blue Line exposes the defund the police movement and its consequences for society. But several comic book companies have refused to publish it. Now we're asking you to join the effort to distribute it independently and help support the men and women of law enforcement. Get your copy of the only graphic novel to offer an unflinching and not always flattering look at the men and women of law enforcement during a time when we need them the most. Not all heroes wear capes. It's a thin blue line between the rule of law and a world of chaos. Which side are you on? Thin Blue Line by Mike Baron. Order now on Indiegogo.
That is a cool video, man. And that guy's the voiceover, that's tremendous.
Sam Elliott.
Is that really Sam Elliott?
No.
Oh my gosh, because
Oh,
it sure
dang.
sounded like it for a minute. And I was like, that can't be. You guys don't have a budget like that.
No.
All right. Well, let's take a look at what you're real quickly here. What you guys are offering here. You got the whole package, the officer assist whole package for 120. What do we got in there? Let me see.
I think that includes the ride-along coin. And,
You've got a physical copy of the book, a digital copy, duplicate main cover book, donation certificate, ride-along coin, police assistant donation, autograph card. Do you have a separate tier that features the coin? Where's that at? Is it on here somewhere?
I'm not sure, but this is what a ride-along coin looks like. I got this one from doing a ride-along down in Phoenix last year. It's thick, it's huge, it's heavy.
Let me give you a full screen. Hold that up again, would you, Mike? I got you full screen now.
Cool.
This one is for explosive sniffing dogs,
Wow.
which I find
Cool.
particularly
Awesome.
wonderful.
So you did. I assume you did a ride along as kind of research for the project, right?
Well, in a way, Mark Schweikert is he was a friend of Steve Roots, and now he's a friend of mine, and he's been a regular officer on the Phoenix Police Force for many years. And I also know a number of police officers through Karate West because they train there. And the police officers that I know are conscientious people who join the force to serve their community, like Joe. And, I sent you a link to that video where Joe explains his involvement.
Mm-hmm.
And before Joe was a police officer, he was in the Army Airborne. But he's always been drawn. I've known Joe since before he became a police officer. And we would have conclaves at my house once a month. And Gabe Eltaib was another regular. And in fact, we just interviewed Gabe this morning.
I saw. Yeah, you saw that. I saw that in the thing you sent me on the Facebook thing. Was that Kyle, not Kevin, with Comics Elite says, as a former law enforcement officer, I appreciate this story. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Kyle.
So, I mean, obviously this is politically charged and it's ripped out of today's headlines. But what made you motivated to tackle this?
It was like I say, I don't choose my stories; they choose me. It's like every time I went online, there was another Florida man story. Well, in the summer of 2020, you couldn't escape the images of cities in flames and destruction, billions of dollars of destruction, dozens of people dead, and some reporter standing up front saying, mostly peaceful protests. And then the defund the police movement started, and all these politicians, these I don't want to, you've seen them asking to defund the police. And now they're saying, oh, well, no, we never called for that. Well, you can look at the results. Murders are up 100% in every blue city. Minneapolis is in flames. Chicago legalized theft up to $1,000. And today there was a massive ripoff at some high-end purse store where people just go in, they grabbed $1,000 worth of goods, and they walked out. Every Walgreens in San Francisco has closed down because of the shoplifting. Retailers are leaving these cities. And all I have to say is let every productive citizen leave those cities. Let every productive citizen leave those states. See how far they get. You're either for the rule of law or you're not.
No, it's true, because I was just listening on the radio. There's of course, there's a show coming up in Seattle here in December, the Emerald City Con. And people are asking me, am I going? And I'm like, well, number one, I don't want to go to Seattle in the middle of winter. Secondly, I said, I'm just listening on the news where they're saying they don't have enough police personnel because they cut all the budget for the cops.
Yeah.
And they're going to lose even more because of the vaccine mandates. And the same thing in Portland.
Oh,
you got murders are up. It's insane. Who's the idiot that sat there on a panel and said it's a good idea to defund the police? We don't need police. Everybody will just behave themselves. Yeah, sure they will.
Well, downtown Portland is, from what I hear, we won't go down there, but it's just a shell. I mean, there's
it's really unfortunate
and
how stupid politicians have what stupid politicians have done, and the fact that there's enough people that are voting for stupid politicians to allow them to do this is the other thing that's frustrating to me. But so anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. But so you put this together, and so were you actively seeking a publisher, or were you?
No, I already had one. Chris Brawley. Well, he's not a publisher. We would prefer to go with a major publisher, of course,
Sure.
and we submitted to most of the major publishers, and at least they didn't write scathing letters, which I have received in the past. They just said not interested, and why would they? You look at some of these people and the material that they're publishing today, and this is the exact opposite of the material that they're publishing, which seems to be untethered to reality.
Right.
And I know about Gabe El-Taib, right? You know what Gabe said.
Well, I haven't seen his latest video, but go ahead.
But you know that on Ethan's show on Monday, he announced he was quitting DC in protest of what they've done to Superman. It wasn't so much the sexual orientation as the fact that they changed his slogan to truth, justice, and a better tomorrow.
Right. Well, Gabe's actually coloring Wraith of God now for me, so he I kind of lucked out there that the timing was perfect, because I needed a good colorist, and suddenly there he was. So
thanks, old man.
But
not you, the guy in the chat.
What's that?
Oh, old man backed the book, and I'm thanking him.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were telling Aaron good job, or
yeah, I'm thanking that old man.
You don't call me that. You'll get in trouble on this show. I'll shoot you with a cannon if you do that. But
I saw that.
I'm not promoting violence. I'm just promoting violence. That's all I'm doing. So, okay, so you couldn't get anybody to get behind this, which isn't surprising. So, what? How did you come to the conclusion that Indiegogo was the way to go?
Well, we ran a successful campaign for Florida Man, and Chris, who runs these campaigns for us, he knows what he's doing. He's a videographer. He's the top videographer in Chattanooga, maybe in the state. And he put together that video that you saw.
Yeah.
And that's just a sample of his work. But we felt that there's an audience out here, evidenced by Comicsgate, that's fed up with the political correctness and the wokeness of modern comics, and wants stories that first and foremost entertain. And I never forget that that's my mission. Now, it's true, this is a pro-police story, and a lot of people are going to love it for that reason. But my number one rule is it's my job to entertain, and this is a very entertaining story. There's not a wasted panel in it. There's not a wasted word. You get hooked from the first page, and you won't be able to put it down till you get to the end. My second rule is show, don't tell. And this applies to life as well as comics. And, it seems so simple. But we're looking at comics today. I know you've all seen that page from X-Men that's been making the rounds lately, with a couple of X-Men down at the bottom of the page, and on top of them are 85 word balloons with about 1,000 words.
Right.
That's not why people buy comics.
Right.
Yeah.
We've both taken quite a bit of, what should we call it? Let's just call it what it is, harassment online because of the project he's doing now and being part of Comicsgate. And I always answer, people just want to be entertained.
Absolutely.
An entertaining story with great art where you can kind of escape a little bit from all the crap that's going on these days. Who would want to then read a comic book that just says more or shows them more of that and keeps them in that drudgery of everyday?
But even if you're doing a realistic story like you're doing, I assume it's obviously realistic, right?
It's as real as the world that we live in. I mean, there's nothing in it that's fake or unbelievable.
But you also show both sides. Like you said, it's sometimes not. I forgot how it was put, but
it's not propaganda, right?
No, it's not.
Story,
See?
right? That's the kind of the difference of.
Right, you can use real life situations with superheroes or without superheroes, but don't propagandize it, right?
No.
Don't make it, I'm trying to teach you a lesson, and this is what I believe,
and I know
this
better.
is what you should think, right? Instead, you tell a story with characters that maybe aren't all one-sided, they're not.
There are shades of gray among the police as well. And we never name any of these groups of activists, but you'll recognize them. And we're donating a portion of the proceeds to police charities. And Joe picked one out, which is to get police training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu so that they can subdue people without hurting them.
That's a great thing. I mean, because I think that obviously, nobody, regardless if you're conservative or liberal or whatever, nobody wants to see, people getting shot or, needlessly being killed, even accidentally, during arrests and stuff like that. So I think the more, the more training, the more opportunities police have to find different ways to subdue criminals, it's going to make their lives easier and, probably appease a lot of people on both sides of the aisle.
I think they forget or not acknowledge what would you do in that situation if every call you went on, whether it was a traffic stop, anything, is putting your life on the line.
That's right.
That's
And
absolutely
how
true.
would they react to that?
Yeah, it's easy to sit here and point fingers and say, "Oh, I never would have done that. How could that guy?" But they could get killed at any moment, and they've got to, respond that way, I would think. And but anyway, so you made the decision to go ahead and do this comic. So then you said you went on a ride along. So obviously you're going to do some research. You're not just going to write a police story without actually delving into it to find out what's really going on. So talk a little bit about the research you had to do to put this thing together.
Well, any good writer has to be able to imagine every point of view, from the hero to the most loathsome villain, and I try to do that. So I put myself in the minds of activists, whoever's protesting, as well as the people that are trying to preserve order. As I said, I've trained with a number of police officers, and they're overwhelmingly good people who want to serve their society. And I went on a ride along in Phoenix. I've gone on ride alongs before. The one in Phoenix was a real eye opener because and this was like 3 years ago, before they opened the southern border. But there was this huge area in southern Phoenix where the homeless lived. And for block after block, the sidewalks were completely covered with these little pop-up tents. And there are people sitting out there shooting up, doing drugs. And when we came along and Mark got out of the cruiser, they kind of drift away or hide. But we talked to a few. He talks to people. He's very good at talking to people and finding out what they're up to. And he could tell at a glance if somebody was involved in some illegal activity. He'd say, "Look at that guy over there. He's got something to hide." And then we'd go up and talk to him. And he'd get the guy to talk about his record and stuff. It was just amazing. But it just gives you an insight into what police officers have to deal with.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also interesting that you touched on the fact that you got to kind of get in the mind of Antifa. And I think one of the problems that we have right now in society is no one takes the time to sort of, even if you don't agree with them, to figure out why someone does what they do, what's motivating these people, why are they responding the way they're responding, what do they believe, why do they believe that? Because if you don't understand someone's foundation for how they're acting, what they believe, then how can you ever change their mind or get inside?
There are a number of people you'll never change their mind. You can't change their mind.
But you can't. I think it behooves you to at least attempt to understand where the other side is coming from.
Of course.
So that you can address those issues. And it sounds to me like that's what you're attempting to do in this story. Not saying, oh, Antifa is this great thing, because obviously they're not. But understanding what motivates these people makes it a more believable character study as to what happens in your story.
To a degree. And I think that these parties that are calling for defund the police are a minority, and they're a small minority, but they have a huge voice. They have a huge platform. And so they dominate the news, and that's all you hear. And you listen to that and you think, well, that's it. The country's going down the toilet. There's nothing we can do about it. But that's not true. They simply appear that way because they've seized the megaphone.
Well, I think that's interesting because those of you who watch SpongeBob in the audience who know that, and I say this sort of jokingly, but it's true that I think it was Plankton said one time, it's like, if you don't know what you're talking about, just yell louder, because that'll convince people that you know what you're talking about, right? And so it's like, get the megaphone and start, I don't know what I'm talking about, but if I say it loud enough, you guys will believe me. And that seems to be like there's a lot of that going on social media.
Yeah.
They latch on to these, I call it weaponizing words. They
Yep.
latch on to these, whether it's a narrative or like us being, someone called Aaron a Nazi. It's like, it's the most ridiculous thing ever. I mean, we've been called, just the most vile things. And part of my, it's almost funny because they don't know us, for one. And I said, if you watch our silly show for 5 minutes, you know that it's not even in the possibilities, but they are so white knuckle gripping this idea that we're part of a hate group and that we're Nazis, and that, I missed my KKK meeting to go to a book burning. That was one thing I was called. They involved our daughter in it. We've been, threatened to, you're going to reap what you sow. And just these insane things, because they completely lack the ability to look at it and say, you know what, this guy's just trying to feed his family. This guy's just trying to pay his bills and do what he loves to do.
That goes back to what I mentioned earlier, was just trying to get inside somebody else's head to understand why they're doing what they're doing. And like you said, some of these people, and a lot of these people, especially these extremists, nothing you say is ever going to change their mind, because they're so wedded to their ideology that it doesn't matter. Truth no longer is even important.
Because they grab them when they're young. I mean, look what they're teaching in college now.
Yeah.
They're not teaching history or economics or human nature. They're teaching wokeness and victimhood.
Yep.
Well,
exactly right.
I used to be a public high school teacher. I taught math forever. And I am so glad to be out of there. Our conservative students would be ridiculed in their economic or their political science classes. And it was just it's so unhealthy. And now, of course, I teach private school very, very part-time. And it's like, some days I can't believe they're paying me. These kids say thank you. I haven't handed them a test. They say thank you.
Whole different world.
Manners. Woo! Yeah.
So is the script completely done on this project right now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you're in a funding, you're funding right now. The script is, the artist is working on it, I assume, right?
Oh, no, the book is completely illustrated. Now we're just waiting on coloring and lettering.
Oh, so you guys are completely done then?
Yeah. Yeah, and as I said, Joe's a full-time police officer, and he still finished the art faster than many pros.
There's a whole nother story, right? But so is that kind of your mindset then on when you're doing a project, an Indiegogo project, that you're going to go ahead and do the project and then solicit after you're finished with it? Or is that just how this one worked out?
Well, as a writer, I complete everything before I decide what to do with it, unless I'm being commissioned to write something.
Right.
As I was commissioned to write The Saints for Allegiance, and I'm working on another series for a friend of mine in Austria. It's called 2084, and it's an extrapolation of 1984. Well, anybody who's awake today realizes that everything that was predicted in 1984 is happening right now. We don't have to wait another 60 years.
Right.
But in this story, you add powerful telepaths and telekinetics, most of whom work for the powerful tech lords who run everything. But there's a rebel group that's trying to overthrow society. And that's the premise of this 2084 series.
So is this with Encode Graphics that I
Yes.
set you up with? Yeah, because they had I did a story for them as well. And I'm still not sure when it's coming out. I keep bugging him, going, dude, when are you gonna publish? Is this gonna be digital or is this gonna be this? And he's like,
so Martin.
Yeah. Because he had asked me if I knew any, big name writers, and I was like, Barron is probably available or would be willing to do it. And
thank you, sir.
Chuck Dixon. And so I sent him you guys' names, and I had finished my story, and I assume it's all going in the same anthology. Has yours been published yet that you know of, or is it?
Not that I know of.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah, those I did some short stories. What's this dog's name?
Oh, this is Husker. Aaron is a huge Nebraska Cornhusker fanatic.
Yeah, my
And
dad.
so-
My dad's from Nebraska and raised me on Nebraska football. So
This
we
is
named the
little
dog.
Husker.
Named the dog after my football team. So what can I say? But
Once he's our quarantine puppy, but our youngest went away to college. Well, she's a sophomore now, but I said I gotta have something in this house besides just us, and so
we got
got the little
ourselves a
fur
dog.
baby.
Yep. So
Thanks.
has Martin approached you? Because I always joke on this show about I show the image from my which I'll do real quick since it's my show and I can do whatever I want, I suppose. But I show this image that was the cover to. That's supposed to be the cover to the anthology, right?
Wow.
And that's my character, very Cable-esque, I admit it. But they're all dystopian future sort of sci-fi stories. It was
Yeah.
kind of a shtick. And he's contacted me about, hey, you want to do like more, like a miniseries or something, which it sounds like that's what he's talked to you about as well with yours. But I'm like, well, Martin, when are you going to publish this?
I've seen the art. The art for the first issue is complete. It's fantastic.
Oh, is it cool? That's great. Because I thought, someone contacts you from Sweden, right? And you're like, I don't know, is the guy even going to pay me? But he did. And he was like really upfront with everything and offered to pay me money up front, which I wouldn't, I took a little bit, I think, because I'd written the script on spec and then, he was very quick about paying and stuff. So I said, oh, this guy's legit. That, I don't know what he's going to do with the material, but he's been, has been very upfront and very, professional as far as I can, in my experience with him. So I'm just kind of anxious for this to get out because it sounds like he's got some pretty good people in it. And
yeah,
good stuff.
I'm working with a guy named Marcella Brew, who's incredible. I can show you some of the art. I could post it on Facebook if you like.
Yeah, I'll go grab it. If you message me in Facebook, send me the art, I can pop it up here on the screen and we can take a look at it. Because I am curious about that. It's fun to actually talk to someone that's involved in the same project because I have no idea what's going on,
Yeah, this is a scene from 2084.
All right, let me get. Oh, I got to move this over here. Open it up. Okay, let's see.
Like 5,000 things.
Yeah, I got to click 16 buttons, but I got it. So let's see here.
Thanks, Geek Event. I think
Come here, Freddie. Come on up here, Freddie.
one.
Come on up here, Freddie.
Yeah, dogs all over the place.
Oh, we got dogs all over the place.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Okay,
So
that's cool.
This is very Blade Runner-ish.
yeah. That was kind of like, when someone says dystopian sci-fi future, that's the first thing you think of, right? Is Blade Runner. You're like, okay, well, how can I make this like Blade Runner without making it Blade Runner? Because people have an expectation sort of to see that, and it'll be interesting to see how similar some of these stories are, just in terms of, because they're all sort of, we're given, I think, pretty much the same stuff, right? Give me a dystopian future sort of, and he gave us sort of this parameter of what he wanted the book to be. So it's going to be interesting to see how similar and how different some of these projects are, with us both getting sort of the same parameters to work from,
Yeah.
So that's cool. Well, hopefully we'll be seeing this and then we can kind of like,
Yeah.
because that looks really, really cool.
I'm excited about it.
Now, hang on a second. Now, this is in color, duh, obviously. Mine was supposed to be in black and white, but yours is in color?
Yes.
I wonder, because he originally told me that the anthology was going to be black and white, so I wonder if yours is for something different that he's doing.
Well, it's going to be a 5-issue series.
Okay, so this is an ongoing, or a mini-series. It's not just part of this. Did you do one for the anthology, or did you just jump ahead?
I did a couple of short stories for the anthology.
Okay, and that's
Anne,
the right one.
where's Anne? Where's my lovely wife who runs my campaigns?
She was right there a second ago, and then she snuck out.
Anne,
We're following her very happily.
where'd she go?
She was
She'll
there.
be here in a minute. She'll be here in a minute. I want her to make a cameo.
What?
Come here and show the people your lovely face.
I just got home from making cards. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you guys? Who am I talking to?
Aaron and Shelley
Aaron and
Lopresti.
Shelley.
Okay. Aaron,
And Chris is watching too.
Hi, Chris. Okay, keep him out of trouble.
All right.
Good luck.
Oh my
Beautiful.
goodness. Eric the Guapo jumped in there. Well,
Hey, Eric.
you misspelled Shelley's name. I'm not going to
That's
bomb you
okay.
right now. But say
He's
hi,
so-
say hi to Mike too. Come on now.
Randy says hi, Ann and Mike.
There we go. Smoke and Wraith says black and white would be sweet. I don't know if he's talking about the Wraith or if he's talking about our Swedish project. But anyway, I forgot that you worked on that, so I'm actually even more excited now to read this magazine or digital, whatever it comes out. I'm stoked to see it. But he was talking to me about early spring or something. Is that what your miniseries is slated, or do you have a date on that?
I have no idea.
No idea. How far into it are you done with it? I mean, writing.
I just finished writing the 4th issue.
Okay. Well, I would assume this guy's going to publish these at some point. He's not just stockpiling this really cool material with no plans to do anything. So we're going to assume Martin's going to come through for us and publish this stuff.
Right, and he's looking for an American publisher too. Keep that in mind if you know anybody. It's an outstanding series, and the art itself is going to blow you away. The art will sell it, but the story's very good.
Well, I would hope so, Mike. You wrote it. You don't want to be,
Yeah, I don't let anything out of the house unless I think it's a home run these days.
You can't afford to, really.
No.
Well, Mike, let me, I guess we can kind of wrap this up. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you want to get out there right now?
Just as you know, Aaron, I'm working on so much stuff, but I concentrate on one thing at a time, and that's the key.
Well, have you written the story for him? What I know of you, your answer is probably yes, but have you written the story for Graham's Manly Tales?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so that's done, and that's being actually drawn at this point by Butch?
Yeah, I've been waiting years to write that story. It's called Gurkha on a Train.
Now, are these all, well, they're not all war stories. I would assume they all take on a different sort of
This is a
manliness.
true story.
It's
A
a
true
true-
story. I don't want to go in any more about it, except that the title gives you a clue. It's called Gurkha on a Train, and
Okay,
it's about a Gurkha soldier returning to his hometown on a night train in India.
okay, interesting. Well, so you've got that. You've got the Thin Blue Line right now, which is funding. So I remind everybody to check that campaign out. The link is in the description. So please visit that and look at the campaign and all the different options he has and tiers for ordering. Anything new that's just on the horizon that you're about to get started on, you want to give a shout out to real quickly?
Well, I have a Nexus graphic novel that's coming out next year that was illustrated by Richard Bonk, and then the one by Elphick, and then the one I'm working on with Sergio Cariello, which I'm very excited about.
Those are all
and-
Nexus projects?
These are all Nexuses, and I don't know if you know about this, but Richard Meyer published this, and it was illustrated by Kelsey Shannon, and Kelsey is halfway through the next issue. It's a 3-issue series called Triplets, about 3 triplets, their children, who have perfect telepathic ability among the 3 of them, no matter where they are. And in my universe, the only certain method of communicating instantly through interstellar differences is via telepathy, because it's not subject to the world of physics.
Interesting. So you are doing a lot of Nexus along with everything else you're doing.
It doesn't seem that much to me. It's not like I'm writing a monthly series, which I would prefer to do, but we might build up to that. I don't know.
But you've got 3 separate Nexus projects you're working on right now. And when I say they're being drawn or packaged right now.
2 of them are 48-page graphic novels. They're completely written. Some of the best stuff I've ever done. And the one I'm working on with Sergio is going to blow your mind. It's the premise is incredible. It's perfect for Nexus, but nobody's ever thought of it before.
And this is all going to be released through Dark Horse.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, Mike, I am thrilled that you are keeping so busy. I can't even believe it. I mean, like I said, you sounds like you're juggling so much. I can't even imagine how you do it. But congratulations on your continued success.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, wait a minute. Don't forget Mike's YouTube channel, The Baron Earl Show.
Oh,
Well,
that's right. I sent you a link. Because we interviewed Gabe El-Taib this morning, and that show is up. I think I sent you the link, but here, I'll do it again.
No, I've got it. I just haven't had a chance to run over and watch it. So are these live streams, or are they taped shows that you then...
They're both. We broadcast them live, and then they're available on the Baron Earl's YouTube channel. And our first guest was Steve Rude. Our second guest was Kelly Jones.
Oh,
Our
really?
third guest was Bill Willingham, and our fourth guest was Gabe El-Taib.
Geez, you got a good lineup, man. You're making me look bad. I'm gonna have to do a little bit harder work and getting some guests in once in a while. I'm just too lazy. I'm like, I'll just draw. So
how would you like to be one of our guests?
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Okay.
I'd love to come on.
Great.
Randy Howell, our friend from Canada, says, super show, 4 new backers for Mike, and Aaron has to settle for snacks.
That's
you,
we
Randy.
have advanced degrees in snacking.
That's
so,
right. So settling for snacks is never a bad thing over here. But thank you, Randy, for the $10. I
Thanks,
greatly
Randy.
appreciate it.
Love you.
Henry Bemis says, excellent stream, Aaron and Shelley. Hey, thank you, guys. We appreciate everybody joining us, especially our special guest, Mike Barron, who has got more projects going right now than I can even mention in a single breath. But the Thin Blue Line is funding right now on Indiegogo, so that's like a priority. But he looks like he's got a bunch of Nexus stuff coming up. He's got things with Graham Nolan coming up on his Graham's upcoming 64-page Manly Tales book. That should be
Two-Fisted Manly Tales.
Yeah.
So that should be a blast. So, Mike, keep doing what you do and doing it well. Let's stay in touch as we try to over social media, and I would love to come on your show sometime and talk some more. And we'll do that. So, again, thank you. Thanks everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Check us out tomorrow night on Comicsgate Kings with Ethan, and I think that's Art to Bear's closeout stream. So that'll be exciting. And then, of course, I'll be doing last-second live streams all through the week as we get closer to Halloween. So I still have a few more monsters to draw, and we'll have a lot of candy to eat next Sunday. That's for sure.
Baby.
So anyway, Mike, again, thank you. Appreciate it. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. Thank you for supporting our projects, and we will see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.